Welcome to the Golden Square Podcast with your hosts, Linda Scott and Sharilyn Fisher. Are you ready? Because we're starting right now, only on Stunner Radio, the heart and soul of the culture.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Thursday night, the Golden Square Podcast. Yes. Look, we haven't been together in a moment. So we're super excited and we welcome you here. I'm Linda Scott, my co-host, Sharilyn Fisher. And tonight, I know we say this all the time because every one of our guests are very awesome. And tonight we have the beautiful, and all our guests are beautiful too. Yeah. So
beautiful people attract beautiful people.
Okay, all right. So we got a beauty for you tonight. She is, wow, I don't even know how to describe her. She has a lot of hats as well.
She wears a lot of hats.
She's a very, very powerful woman, and that she is Miss Charlene Bouie. Yeah. So now I want to go into her history and tell you some little things like she has a charity, domestic violence, and a women environment.
But nobody can tell it like she can tell it.
Oh, see, that's why we're together.
See, nobody can tell it.
So
nobody
listen,
can tell it like Charlene.
Let us bring on our guest, Miss Charlene Bouie. Hey, Charlene, how are you?
I'm good. You guys, this is so amazing. This is so amazing.
Thanks, Alice. You catch everybody.
Alice is watching tonight.
Okay, so
Alice.
Charlene, I and Sharilyn and I would like to tell the world who you are. But Sharilyn said it best, that you can tell the people who you are better than we can. But I'm just going to say that I met you in the mall, typical place for women to meet, in the mall. And I don't know how many years ago that's been. I don't know, Charlene, how many years ago? It's been a long time.
That was like 2013,
5 or about 5, maybe about 4. I don't know, Charlene, but it's been a long time.
It was back like in 2012, 2013.
No, because I left Florida in 13. And we knew each other since, girl, listen, anyway.
Y'all know each other
a long time. But in knowing each other for a long time, Charlene and I were interested in the same thing, and that was empowering women. Mm-hmm. And Charlene, I don't know how we started talking. Two people. We were just going at each other. Marco was with me, and I was getting ready to do a show in Miami. And we bumped into each other at the mall. But anyway, we started talking about empowering women. Mm-hmm. And empowering women, Charlene had, she had an organization which is, about domestic violence and women empowerment. And she's had that organization since 2001. And she created it in Seattle, Washington. So Charlene, tell us a little bit about you, and we can go from there.
First I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity of coming on to the Golden Square Podcast. It is such a privilege. Sometimes I feel like I'm in full circle. I meet people in one environment and then turn around. It turns into something else. And Coffee Break with Charley is a women empowerment organization. But originally, when I lived in Washington State, it was Healing Hearts Outreach Ministry. It started out from a Christian standpoint. And so from that, God is like, no, this is beyond the church. People need to understand outside of the church that there is a God, for number one. Right. 2, women across the globe are hurting. And so you have to be able to reach them. And when you start to talk about Christianity, it kind of turns some people off. Mm-hmm. So Coffee Break with Charley formulated really because I have a friend that lives in Ohio. She has a part of her women's ministry is called Coffee Break, and they do a book club and all that. And so I was a spinoff from that, and I called it Coffee Break with Charley for us to talk about what goes on in the lives of women day to day. And I'm very transparent, a lot more transparent behind closed doors, more so than I am in public. A lot of that has to do with because people are not looking to change, they're looking to gossip. They're looking to have something to talk about.
Right.
And so I had to learn how to navigate between what I said in public and what I said privately, because I look nothing like my story. I mean, sex, physically, emotionally abused, 10 years of memory lapse. In elementary, I had my teachers sitting me in the garbage can. In high school.
Wow.
I had teachers trying to sleep with me. So the reality is how do you survive?
Right.
How do you survive the trauma of it, the triggers, the memories? And, you know, on one hand, you had, well, I dealt with people saying, well, she thinks she's so pretty. She thinks she knows everything. And I never thought I was pretty.
Because you had them thinking for it. You didn't have time to think like that.
No, I did not.
Yeah.
I mean,
they were thinking that for you. That's what people. That's where people mess up with the thought. When you hear people say, "Oh, she thinks she's purity," she think, "Baby, you thinking that for me? I ain't got time to think about that. I got other things." Charlene, let me ask you this question right here, and I know there's so much that I want the audience to know about you and why we chose to have you on here. Cheryl and I say all the time that the big mamas are gone, and we now are the big mamas. So when we pick and choose our fight, who are the women that you serve?
I have a wide range of women. Most of the women that I deal with are women who are in the public, women who have high-powered spouses or boyfriends. So a lot of times I'm not at liberty to talk about any of what goes on in their lives. So it is easier to talk about my life and talk about, you know, how to make that change, because the reality is when you've suffered through trauma, when you've suffered through rejection and misunderstandings, it's hard to bounce back from that.
Right.
And so what I do most is let's start with self-examination. It is easy to pass judgment on someone else and say things like, well, they made these mistakes. Or my biggest pet peeve is what I hear when people talk about gay people. If you really want to get up under my skin, that is one. We make same-sex relationship the biggest sin in the world.
Yes,
but when
we do.
it comes to God, your sin, your lies, your mishandling people, your manipulation, it is no different.
That's right.
And when it comes to gay community, they had praying grandmothers, they had praying aunties, they had praying uncles. The same God that is answering our prayers are answering their prayers as well. Absolutely. And what's required of us is just to show love. And traumas happen to divert us from the thing that God purposed in our lives to do. Here's what I believe. There is nothing that I experienced, one, that wasn't my fault. Two, but I had to learn how to understand that if God allowed it, I will be able to walk through it. Don't misunderstand under no circumstance. Am I saying this is something that God caused? Sometimes we are in positions that people put us in positions, or we're around predators and don't know who the predators are. And so anything that I've experienced, God knew that at some point in time that my life would turn around. And in the process of my life turning around, I would conquer this. Yeah. And not only would I conquer it, I will go back and reach out to people who are like me. So I'm not the voice for everyone, but I am a voice for many. But those who want to know, a lot of times you're crying deep within, I want change. I want to do something different. I want to eat different. I want to wear different clothes. Those things are going on. Is that, but how? Because the traumas will debilitate you that you don't know how to move forward. You have to self-talk. You have to tell yourself that it is going to be well. In the midst of crying, in the midst of being fearful in the midst of not understanding if I'm coming or going. I just keep doing it in fear.
And we just had that conversation.
Yes.
We just had that conversation last week with Andrew Notice and Andre Notice, and one of his sayings is what you're looking for on the everything you're looking for is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
Is on the other side of fear.
And not only that, sometimes we desire things that seem so far-fetched, but those desires come from God placing on the inside of us.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I can remember being 12 years old, standing on my porch, wanting to save women. I was 12.
Oh, wow.
But the reality is, life happened, because if you don't have life experiences, what are you going to talk about?
Absolutely.
Everyone doesn't want to hear about what you learned in your textbook.
Right.
What we really want to know is, how did you survive adversity? How did you survive molestation? How did you survive being raped? How did you survive your spouse cheated on you? What does that really look like? Many times we're in our Manolo Blahniks, our Chanels, and our designer clothing. That's fixing up on the outside.
Right.
But the reality is, when you have people that are in professions, because they have college degrees, because they're in designer clothes, what's going on in their personal lives?
Right.
I've worked for people. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place because I have.
No, you're fine.
You're fine. Give it to us how you feel like you need to feed it into the generation that is behind us, because we want them one day to come. I don't know if they're gonna ever catch us, but we want them. We want them to be knowledgeable.
The reality is this, ladies. We admire people, but we don't know what people are living like at home. We admire people with college degrees, doctor degrees, those who have been to law school, medical school, but you don't know what's going on behind the closed doors. You don't know what it took for them to survive. Everyone that is successful, they're successful in the area that they studied in. But what is going on with the traumas in their lives, the misunderstandings, those insecurities have a way of manifesting.
Yes, right. Yeah.
We don't always know how to support one another. If you're doing more than what I'm doing, how do I support you and I'm behind you? Right. And I want to be either equal or I want to be side by side. A lesson that I learned long time ago is, if you're going to make a difference in the world, be with people who have already conquered that, because they're not concerned about you.
Right.
They're not concerned about if you succeed, if you don't, because they so far ahead of you that they don't have a problem with supporting you. And many don't always agree with that, but it doesn't matter. Whether you like it or don't like it. You gotta find your niche, whatever your niche is, and you gotta move past the naysayers. Very, very challenging at times. It's hard to walk away from family members. It's hard to walk away from friends who have been your friends for 15, 20 years. And you're like, well, how do I walk away? Well, you've grown.
Right.
Your growth, your desires change.
Absolutely.
The way you view life is different. And I say this, in 2020, I had a life and death experience. I was 24 hours away from death. And when I tell you that changed the entire trajectory of my life, how I see people, how I view things, all of it is different. We think that we can mishandle people and it's okay. It's not okay. You don't know who. You may say something derogatory to a person, and they go home and think about that thing for days on end. God's going to hold us accountable for that.
Feed it into their system.
And we have to be more attentive than what we are. We need to pay more attention to one another. I have days where I still fight through depression. I still fight through insecurities and am I going to survive? Am I going to make it? Who likes me? Who doesn't like me? The problem is we don't want to talk about those types of things.
Right.
The world to see us as if we're always on point. And we're not the prettiest people, the happiest marriages, the children that have the best careers. There's always something that you're going to have to overcome within your life. And I found that the greatest thing is communication. Are you talking to hear, or are you talking to have a response? What I also would like to say is that
I was
talking so that you can hear, feel. Because people are talking and we want to respond. Like, no, listen.
Listen. So and none of us. So we don't do that enough.
No, not at all.
We don't communicate, period. But that's a catch right there.
But I think one of the reasons we as a Black race do not communicate our feelings and our depressions, whatever, because the Black community has such a negative connotation of mental illness and depression.
Yeah.
So can I say something?
Sure.
So that's a mindset. That's a mindset. And what I mean by that is, okay, that may be status quo, but each individual is responsible for their own health.
That's right.
Happened to us.
Yes.
We have experiences. All of us do. Anyone and everyone that will watch this podcast. All of us have something, but it is our independent responsibility to take care of ourselves. If you are with people and you know that there's betrayal, you know that they're going to mishandle you or mistreat you with their other best buddies, then don't be with them.
Hello, Antoinette.
Yeah.
And Marcy Pagan says to tell you hello.
And hi, Marcia.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, but see, the thing is, I don't want to be off track. And what I mean by that is that we have to be responsible for our mental stress. For those that you have to know what triggers you.
Yeah.
And you have to know that when you're around certain people, you don't always feel the best. That's your gut feeling. That's your gut feeling saying you don't need to be with them.
You don't, and it's okay.
And it's okay.
It's okay to remove yourself from that. Yes. Absolutely.
After I was staying, when I had that life and death experience, being 24 hours away from I had a whole experience that God was talking to me and saying that I had unforgiveness in my heart. And in between, I was suspended between life and death. And I was trying to figure out, well, who, how, and why. Who is it that I haven't forgiven? Because I thought I had. Who is it that I hadn't, that I had not forgiven? And the one thing that God said for all of us is many times we think that we have forgiven people and we haven't. That unforgiveness is lying layers upon layers upon layers and is hidden. And in the process of that, he's like, they're not coming to heaven. Tell them. Tell my people. Who are God's people? Everyone that listens. None of us have a heaven or hell or a coffin to put anyone in. None of us should be saying, well, you're going to heaven and you're not going to heaven. We don't know that. We don't know the heart of man. So the best that we can do is treat everybody fair. So when he said, tell my people, he's talking about whosoever will, whosoever hears, no matter what their status is like, no matter they're sleeping up under a bridge, they're strung out under drugs, let them know that God loves them.
Okay.
Let them know that God cares. Let people know that love is the answer.
Right.
His only son. We don't want to give up anything. Nothing.
A thing.
We want people to hear us, but we don't want to
hear no one else.
We want sympathy, but we don't know how to give sympathy to someone else.
Absolutely.
And so when it's all said and done, and to all fairness, some people don't know how. They don't know how to. So we
Go ahead and finish your sentence.
We have to take the time. That's where listening comes in at. What I could say is that from that prior to that experience, everyone that I could have done wrong, that did wrong to me, I promise I went to everybody. Some people I went to their house and say, look, there's a misunderstanding. Some people I picked up and called on the telephone. This is prior to having that experience. So by the time I had the experience in the hospital, I didn't know what God was talking about. Moving forward, what ends up happening, I'm out of the hospital. I'm still believe it or not, that was 2020, and my lungs are still trying to recover from the Legionnaires' disease and COVID-19.
Hold on 1 second. Producer, put that statement back up there. Go ahead.
Marcia Pagan said, God said that through another friend, there is still unforgiveness in heart. I said, really? Okay, God, show me, please.
Yes.
That was from Marcia.
And see, there comes times that you have to be transparent with yourself.
Right.
What is amazing? Let me not lose track. So in the process of all of that, he began to show me. I get out of the hospital, I'm home and I'm recovering. And I would hear different people on Facebook Live, or I would see different things and be like, that was the way I would, and he would be like that.
Okay.
That. And from that, he would give a whole story, unveil a whole story to me. I can remember crying and repenting. I asked so many people for forgiveness. I was on a roll. It was my mission in life. If I was gonna die, I was not going to die with unforgiveness in my heart.
Unforgiveness in your heart.
Okay. And here's the thing about unforgiveness. It's not for the other person. It's for you.
It's for you. That's right.
And we say that, but we don't know what it means. Like. Yeah. Because some deeds in life are detrimental. I mean, they pierce your whole heart. Yeah. They pierce your entire being. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out how to forgive. You got to figure out how to move beyond what has done. Why? Because you can. It's a mindset. You have to say to yourself, either I'm going to be bitter for the rest of my life because of the wrong that was done, or I'm going to make up in my mind, I'm going to do something different. But here's the key factor in doing something different. Whenever somebody else come along with that type of spirit or that type of behavior, you'll never forget it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just a different body with a different set of clothes and a different form of manipulation.
Yeah. Marcia said, at first I was mad, LOL. Then I said, you know what? Show me.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because we don't want to know who we are. It is really, really easy to say, well, they did this and this is how they made me feel. So since that's how they made you feel, then feel something different.
Different. Yeah, I tell my 15-year-old all the time. She always saying, well, that made me feel. No, sweetie, those are your feelings. They only belong to you, and no one can make you feel any kind of way.
And here is another thing that I say to people when I do my workshops is, if you told me I hurt you, and I say, I didn't hurt you, and you say again, yes, you did, right there, you stop. If someone is saying to you that you hurt them, you hurt them. And let them explain what that looks like, what that feels like, because what's major to someone else is minor to you. But the best that you can do for someone is validate their feelings. We want to come here and say, well, I don't need anyone, and you don't have to validate me, and I don't need any friends. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
We need one another. Yeah. Now, you may not need the same people that I need, but we need one another. Another thing that I like to talk about is relationships. Everybody want to be married. Everybody want to have.
No, not everybody, but
let me kind of deny it a little bit more.
Alice Bell said, "What a word, so true."
Yeah,
but here is what I say: is we say we're ready for marriage. Is it you're ready for marriage or you're ready for sex?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on now.
Now let me tell you what I mean by that.
Okay, go ahead.
Marriage is a commitment.
It is.
It's a commitment.
It is.
And I say we as women, we give birth. We give birth to children. We give birth to vision. We give birth to
vision is there.
We give birth, period.
Right.
And I believe there is nothing that a man won't do for a woman, but can you reach him in his heart?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to help him trust you? Because he's been betrayed by everybody else, whether that's in the workforce, whether that's by other women, whether that's by friends. Do you know how to help that man help him trust you? Do you know how to keep his secrets and not tell to your best friend, tell to your family, tell to your girlfriend? You're learning how to do those types of things. Right. And here is another thing. When friends tell you things, let me make it more personal. There's times that total strangers just tell me their whole lives, and it still amazes me.
Yes,
it still amazes me. Yeah. But here's the deal: there's times I've been with people, and I make it easy for them to talk, and they've talked and talked and talked, and then they're like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe I told her all that." Because of their own dysfunction, they go and they have tried to discredit me. I've been in rooms where people were talking about me and didn't even know it was me that they were talking about.
Yes.
You know what?
That part.
Yeah, Charlene, I was at
wait. Let me finish the statement in this.
Go ahead.
But here is the key. Can you stay under the umbrella of safety and allow God to heal your wounds? Because you don't have to chase down a lie.
That's right.
A lie will eventually reveal itself, rather than 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Can you keep your integrity? Everything that happens, you don't have to let no one drag you out of integrity. You don't get integrity back.
You don't.
I mean, it's hard.
It's hard. That's it.
Especially with women. With women and betrayal and things of that nature, it is over. I remember when she used to. I remember when she was in the streets. I remember when she had 4 and 5 boyfriends. How about we just work on it now?
That's right. Now.
It's that thing where we look outside rather than looking inside. The same time, the same energy that it takes for us to talk about what somebody else is doing, judge yourself.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, you can't see my future because you're too busy looking at my past.
That's it.
But here's the deal. Sometimes that's what we're doing. Okay. We're so busy looking at, well, I failed at this. I've tried 10 times and oh my God, how am I going to move fast? Right. Again, that's why I said, let's look at us. It's easy to say what somebody else is doing.
Well, you know what? My thing is that I tell everybody that the best thing that you could do is do what? Talk to yourself. Because once you start talking to yourself,
it's not just talking to yourself.
No. When you first have to talk to when you're talking to yourself, you're getting yourself prepared for whatever is coming through. You know how, because you've already said it. You're going to tell yourself the truth. Now you need to. You're going to tell yourself the truth, but you have to act on what you are saying to yourself.
But what I am saying to you is everyone is not telling themselves the truth because they've lived the lie for so long. You've got to unveil. You've got to peel away at truth. You say, I'm confident and I believe in myself, but you crying at night, you woe is me, but don't nobody know that. I'm telling you, I've been in and out of many environments and I've seen many things, and I've had to learn how to see people when they're vulnerable and see them in their strength and keep my mouth shut. Not because
go ahead.
1 second. Not because I'm keeping a secret. I'm maintaining integrity. Right. Because when you keep people's secret, they know if you tell or not. They know. Because some things that have been shared, nobody knows. So if they never hear it again, they know that you didn't say anything. And you can't expect someone to come back and apologize. Apologies is what I do. If you never come back and say that I'm sorry, now I've got to work through that. You know you did me wrong. You know you could have told the truth, but you didn't. But since you didn't, I got to find space for me to let that go and move on. And that's not being weak. That's not ignoring what took place. That's you growing up, you changing the way you think and the way you see things. And the way you see life is how the trajectory begins to change for you. Everybody's not bitter.
No,
some people really are trying to do the work.
Yes.
And as I was saying, we've got to learn how to treat men.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn how to treat men.
One of our callers asked the question, one of our viewers asked the question, do you think women should teach their daughters how to be wives?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely, Livingston.
Here is the other thing that I say.
Oh, no, he says what percent of
percentage?
women grew up when their mother taught them how to be a wife?
I don't know the percentage of that.
Right.
That's
something we don't have those numbers.
I don't know. What I can say is that culturally, we're not spending time with teaching our daughters how to be wives. We're teaching them about entrepreneurship. We're teaching them about independence. And so what happens is that independent women, you're go-getters in the workforce, you're making a difference out there. But when you come home, and let's say you're the breadwinner, when you come home, you got to be the wife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if you're the breadwinner.
Even
if you're the breadwinner.
Right.
But the thing of it is we've been taught independence so much. Now, everyone is not going to agree with this. And that doesn't matter to me because I'm not talking to them that don't agree. I'm talking to them that you are the breadwinner and you're saying, how do I go home and be the wife? How do I go home and make my husband be comfortable with the fact that I'm winning, I'm the breadwinner, but I love you too, sweetheart?
I agree with that because
that's important.
I think that is important, and it takes that couple, that it takes communication to know I am the breadwinner, but listen, you the man of our house, you're over this house. I can go out and do whatever my job requires. It doesn't make you less than a man that you make 40,000, I make 80,000. It doesn't make you less than a man. I do know how to come home and say, okay, babe, you had a rough day too. So we're talking about our days. We're going into that motion of, well, I don't have a husband yet, Charlene, but I do know when I get him, Charlene, when I get him, I do know the things to do. And I'm glad you hit on that because we do need to teach our children, our girls.
But you know what? I think in a perfect world,
that works.
If the wife makes 80,000, the man make 40,000, it does not matter. The whole
it does not matter on one component, but the reality
it's all going in the same pot.
Men's finances tied to their egos.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They want to be able to provide. They want to feel strength in their finances, other than just the bedroom. The bedroom means absolutely nothing. If you broke.
Yeah.
If you broke.
Mm-hmm. And you need to know how to communicate. I say this: wise women build, foolish women tear down. There is a time to be silent, and there is a time to talk. What works for Sally Sue's husband or boyfriend may not work for yours. You've got to take that time and learn that man.
That's that communication.
Oh, this is what I was going to say earlier. You hear people say, well, she stole her husband. No, baby, you didn't steal him.
Right.
He just was ready to go for whatever reason.
Right.
You didn't pay attention to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought pattern on that. Others may see it differently, but I don't believe women are going up stealing people's husbands. No, that man has lost interest. He has told you 51 times, like, babe, I like it this way. I want to do this. Can I come home to a clean house?
True.
We don't want to be housekeepers. We want to go out to dinner. You don't know how to cook, but you want a husband. You
sitting on Linda's toes, Charlene. You stepped on all 10 of them toes, Charlene.
Charlene, hold on now. We've been friends a long time.
I know you don't know how to cook, Linda. You can boil water.
But Charlene, you're right about it. I may not cook on a regular base. Let me make sure I say this correctly. I may not cook on a regular base. I do know where to get help to make my house be smooth. And
Right.
and by me saying that, if I knew my spouse want to eat collard greens and pig feet, you better know I picked up the phone and said, Charlene, my godmother, my sister, Sharilyn, how do you do that right there? Now, I'm going to learn, because by the time he come home, I done messed it up or I done fixed it. Okay. So it's wanting that.
It's wanting to do that.
It's wanting that. If you don't want to do that, it's not going to happen. Then you can say, well, you stole my husband. But I think we have to stop saying you stole something, as you just said. No one steals anything, and it's right there in your face. It's absolutely. So I want to let me see. On the ex-husband side, men don't do well with finances. It's all okay.
Marcia, and that's what Charlene said earlier. But they don't.
Here is the biggest red lights of all. First of all, we've been women all our lives, so let's do what women do.
Right.
And if you want to know how men think, how men feel, talk to men.
Absolutely.
We absolutely don't know how to do that. And we think that sex is the answer for everything.
Everything.
It's absolutely not.
It's not.
At the end of the day, that sex go wear off after a while. Do you know how to multiply? Do you know how to pay your bills on time? Do you know how to go to the grocery store?
I just told one of my young ladies.
These are things. These are things that people really don't know. Let me start here. When I was married, paying bills, I didn't know how to pay bills. My ex-husband paid the bills.
Wasn't good.
I didn't know how to make up a bed. I did not know how to wash dishes. Ask me why. Because I lived with my mother and I didn't have to make up the bed. I didn't have to wash dishes. You know, when
girl, I should have been at your house.
I was like, wait a minute, I got to do what?
Yeah.
I had an uncle. I remember, this is a funny story. My family know about this. I went and stayed the summers, because I would stay the summers in Buffalo with my aunt and uncles and cousins. And so my one uncle, he was like, girl, you don't know how to make up a bed? And so the way he was teaching me, he made beds up like the hospital way.
Yeah.
That night when it was time to go to bed, I waited till everybody went to sleep. I took my blanket and slept in the bathtub, because I was like, I cannot make up this bed the way that he does it. So how about I just don't sleep in it?
Wow.
But Charlene, I just told one of my young lady who comes to me and talks for advice, and she told me she met this guy, and he's wonderful, and his poop don't stink and all that. And she was telling me all these things that she was doing. And I told her to stop, because that's out of character for you. And you're not going to always do that. It's going to get old. His poop is going to eventually start stinking. And you're going to stop doing all this stuff that's out of character for you. And you're going to go into this relationship with this man thinking you're doing this and you're doing that and you're doing this and you're doing that. And then in a month or so, it's going to get old, and you're going to stop.
And he's going to wonder what's wrong with you.
Absolutely.
Right. And you've invested all this time in this relationship, and it's going to go kaput.
Yeah. Wait.
My grandma didn't play about that being made up. That bed being made up. That was Marcia.
Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah. So, the whole thing of it, Charlene, is these are things that my father. Now I'm a very special young lady. I'm going to admit to that. But my father told me exactly what you're saying. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. You got to do this and you got to do that. So now y'all heard me say I was special. But I reversed and said to him, Dad, a way to your daughter's heart is a man got to know how to cook. He has to clean. And I'm going to clean. And I ain't going to do too much about that cooking thing. But I will try to learn how to when I get Mr. Right.
Well, how about wait. How about you learn now? So when you get Mr. Right, you won't be experimenting on the man.
No, I need to call y'all, Charlene. I need to call y'all.
And we don't want you experimenting on the man.
Yeah, but to be honest, and I might be, joking a little bit, just a little bit, but it's basically what we've been sitting here saying is that we have to teach our girls, our children, period, because there's a role that a boy grows up to become a man, he plays, and then there is that role that we as women are teaching our daughters how to be great mothers, how to be great wives, how to be great communicators. Well, that should have probably came first, but great communicators. It takes us, Charlene, to educate, to help enhance whatever it is that my daughter knows, and you can enhance it without trying to make her look crazy or one of those kind of things. Then we have to we could do that, but okay, before we can go any further, let me hold on. You gotta hold it because we gotta go. Yeah,
we gotta do a commercial.
We gotta go on commercial. Okay. So we'll be right back.
If you're looking for custom handcrafted fashion jewelry that makes a statement, look no further than Linda S. Jewelry, 1426. We specialize in quality pieces fit for any occasion. Follow us on Facebook at Linda S. Jewelry 1426 to view our inventory or to make a purchase. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Okay. Hey, thanks for being back, man. Look, Cheryl and I was talking about our guest, Charlene Bouie.
If you live in Houston and
okay, so this has been a great, I think 30 minutes, 40 minutes, because we didn't even take a break for 40. Okay, so but Charlene, I am so interested in everything that you're saying, but I have one question I want to ask you, and I know you're probably going to hit me in the head, but who do you enjoy working with, women or children?
I enjoy both, but children are my specialty.
Okay.
I love children. And when I first accepted Christ, because I didn't know how to trust anyone. And I often say babies and animals don't lie because they don't know how to. Right. Either a dog is either going to be with you or he's not. Or he's going to run and hide. He's going to bark and, bite you half to death. Babies are the same way. And I went through so much in my life and not knowing how to trust. So God used children to surround me. And so those who knew me well, when children was always around me, like we would be places and total strangers' kids would just reach out to me. But when that would happen, I would be having things going on in my life that I was just trying to navigate through. And so because I had such a great bond with children, didn't matter to me what your nationality was, it was consistent. I remember once being in the mall. I managed retail stores and I was in the mall. And these people were walking past my store and I was having one of the most horrific days ever. And so these people are walking past and the baby was watching me, like our eyes just followed each other. And when they got out of sight, the baby started crying. So the parents walked back and say, my baby keeps staring at you. The baby came to me. When I tell you I had so much going on in my life that day, the baby came to, those people stayed in my store like a half hour because the baby didn't want to leave. But it was my way of God saying to me, I got you. You're going to be okay. I'm sending you love through this baby.
Yes.
So because of that, if you really want me to fight you, stop bothering anybody's children.
Right. Yeah, that's me too.
So, while we're speaking about children, let me ask you this question. Because I am a mandatory reporter. And
So am I.
I know. So what concerns you the most when reporting sexual abuse to a child?
This is a touchy situation. It's a real touchy subject matter. I say, don't tell me. If you don't want to do anything about your child having been abused, don't tell me. Yeah. And I say, don't tell me, because I am going to report it. And that comes from because I was that child at one point. Many things that I suffered emotionally, had someone rescued me earlier, some of the things that I deal with right today that I wouldn't have, because I would understand what trust felt like. Let me say this. I had two different men in my life at various times. One man, he taught me what it was like to be protected. And at all is, boy, he pull out a gun on you about me. And then there's another man that I learned about life through the travels of him traveling around the world. So I got to have a balance. And so that was God's way of sending me men that would be my friends, that will be able to teach me about life that I didn't learn from a father, because I grew up in a single parent home. Now, having said that, what my kids got to see, men was not running in and out of my house.
That's right.
Men were not calling my house, for that matter. I didn't start dating until I had been divorced probably 10 years. Something a really long time.
Right.
You know, so and that's hard for people to believe. Ask my children. Ask my children. Who gets on, who I call this national, who gets on a national program and say, men didn't come in my house, men were not calling my house, I was not dating. And I know my children know otherwise. That wasn't my story. Right. My focus was for my daughter to know that you don't have to have a man running in and out. You don't have to have a boyfriend for everything. No, work on your own self. I didn't want my boys, my sons, because they tell me they're not boys. I didn't want my sons to think that you got to have a girl every day of the week. No, have a standard of what it is that you like.
Yeah.
My one son, I swear, he liked all the nationalities, all the girls. He didn't have a preference. You know, so I just say that when it's all said and done, it's easy to say, well, I didn't grow up with the father. Then change.
Yeah.
No longer an excuse.
Right.
Well, you don't want the effects of what your household was like or what you saw. You change. No longer are we in the dispensation where we need to be living under the guidelines of sleeping around, just being a little slap puppy is what I call it, is keep your clothes on.
I know.
Let me tell you this.
I know.
I had a friend, he said to me, he said, Charlene, a man who studies women, a man who really knows a woman can look at a woman and say she's sleeping around and she ain't no good. And I remember saying to him, like, we say
that about men as well. We immediately look at him. It's not judging, but we can look at him and say, yeah, he ain't no good. He does just what you just stated. All he wants is lay you on your back, and as soon as he do that, he's gone. Well, those days, it goes both ways. It goes both ways.
But you know what? Here is the key. Know yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I can tell you that, because those are the things that I tell young ladies. You have to be able to know who you are, and you don't have to answer to anything other than what you, I
keep going back to the key is all of us have not been told who we are. And it is easy to say, well, I've got to find myself. I know what are you looking for? What are your guidelines? What book have you read? What are you studying? How are you going to change if you don't have a guideline of what change looks like? Right. My brother used to say to me, he said, girl, you too doggone busy for a man. My rebuttal to that, well, a busy man will find me and we will slow down together.
Absolutely. Well, that's why you and Sharilyn are now the big mamas. Okay, because you have to, in being a part of your empowerment movement with women, you have to also be able to show that, okay, this is, you have to be able to enhance. I don't want to say, you have to enhance, because we picked up something as a kid, but what was it? And you saw what we were missing and able to say, let me pull you to the side, let me speak with you, and then you guiding them.
We need to, those who are listening, change is not easy.
It's not.
It's not easy.
It is not easy to look yourself in the face and call yourself a liar or a manipulator.
Yes.
It's not easy to do that. Yes. It's not easy to say that if you have the opportunity to support someone and you win, if you're winning, but it will be better if you supported someone else and you win together. People are selfish. They'll win on their own.
That's right.
They're not going to turn back and look and support you. Why? I don't look at what the issue is. I look at the why. Why did you do that? What made you? What caused you to sabotage that person? Sometimes I look at people and I think, oh my God, not from a negative place, but oh my God, is that what I look like? Is that how I see? If we take more time looking at us rather than looking at what someone else did, and okay, if you know they're not going to support you, please tell me, why do you keep being in that same environment?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to turn it. We have to turn it loose. We have to turn them loose. We have to know that it's okay because Charlene is not supporting me. I can still, hey Charlene, how are you? But I know she's not going to support me in anything I do. Change is for for a person. But we have to, Charlene, we still have to be taught that it's okay. You just we can't expect to wake up and it's gonna, okay, so today that is it. No, we have, it's a process that we go through because as you stated and we've stated earlier, we come with all this craziness that it's gonna take a minute for us to get it all back. It doesn't happen overnight, but we need to know that there is someone out there that I could pick up the phone and say, Charlene, can you help me?
Antoinette Dixon says, I've been told I'm too busy for a man also, but I stay busy to keep from feeling and being down and lonely.
Now, see, that's, and looking at her picture, she's a pretty lady.
She is.
In a case like that, you got to find what makes you happy, because that deep feeling that you feel, you'll attract a man with that same thing. And then neither of you will be happy.
You attract what you are.
You've got to find your happy place. My sons, I can remember at one point, boy, they were trying to find me someone today. I was not interested. Not because I don't want to be married again. I do. But I'm still finding me. Right. And the more I find me, I get to see what I don't want. And it's okay that I don't want that. So that means I get to stay single a little bit longer. Probably, I've desired to be married probably like 6 months ago, like really. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to be married right now. Not that I don't want to be married, but not right now. I'm still learning some other things about myself. I'm learning how to be supportive. I'm learning about men from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Men want you to want them, but don't be so dogmatic.
Yeah.
Let the man be a man. You don't have to argue about everything. You don't have to have the right answer all the time. It's okay to be quiet when he's talking and when he's angry. The Bible says that a soft answer turns away wrath. Learn what your power is. We as women, we have superpowers.
Superpower. So well, Charlene, I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna get married when I'm 90. He's gonna come now. He might be pushing me down.
No.
But I want y'all to make sure, Charlene. Listen, because I am learning who I am. I am learning what I like. Well, no, I already knew what I like. That's why I'm here by myself. But I am I'm looking forward. Let me tell you that. I am looking forward to him. And he's going to know once he has me, he has a good girl. He has a good girl who can do all those things. It goes back to like
what I said. My friend said to me, men look at women and they know.
Yeah.
That's the man who understands women. And I remember at one point I used to kind of disagree, like, oh, y'all act like y'all psychic. You don't know all of that. I remember having this like epitome, this revelation of why do we have pimps? Because they knew that woman and they knew that they could break her down. They knew that they could conquer and divide. And so it made me look at things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And not here's another secret. Eyes are the gateway to the soul.
Oh, girl, hold it right there. Hold it. We got to take another break. Charlene, don't go nowhere. You all don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Give us about 10 seconds? 15. All right, we'll be right back.
If you live in Houston and surrounding areas and are in need of quality childcare, contact Cuckoo's Treasures today. We provide professional childcare in a caring and nurturing environment. Do you work second or third shift or don't have a typical schedule? Cuckoo's Treasures can assist you. We're open 24 hours and some weekends. Give us a call today at 346-313-9064. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Hey, welcome back. Y'all hear what's going on. And I'm super excited. I keep saying excited because Charlene, you're giving out some valid points, some valid information, especially helping me get found, because he gonna find me.
And that's another thing. This generation, I'm not with that program, but this generation, they go into what they consider to be the right. I'm not looking for a man.
Right.
He will find me.
He will find
a man who finds a woman.
Yes, I'm not going to be locked up in the house, but I'm not getting dressed up every day either. You're going to be able to know who I am, whether I have not put on a hat, comb my hair, and I have on a hat. I'm not doing all this extra. You know what I'm saying? You're going to find me where I'm at. You're gonna find me in church. You're gonna find me working in community service. I mean, there's places that I frequent. But far as I'm getting up and I'm gonna be dressed in case I see them, no. I get to be who I am
at all times.
I get to be opinionated when I want to be. I get to voice my opinion, whether you like it or not. I get to do it with wisdom, but that shut down so that you can be big and I be little. No, we're going to be equal.
Yeah, doing that. Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm going to know how to respect you, how to honor you, because when we honor and respect men want respect.
Men want respect.
Keep your sex. They want respect.
Yes. And Charlene, I need a young man who's gonna keep me calm. Charlene.
You know what, Charlene, my sister used to say that she wanted the man that God created for her while he was still in his mother's womb. Then the garden created him. But my sister used to always say that, and I used to just go, okay, girl, whatever. But she married late, like in her 50s, and she's extremely happy, and she waited. She waited on God to provide that man.
And I'm telling you, in all honesty, from the bottom of my heart, I'm really not in a hurry. Not. I'm okay with waking up when I do, leaving when I do. And because I'm single and I take care of me, I don't have to cook if I don't want to.
Oh,
and when it comes to being married, I'm still an old-fashioned kind of girl. I believe we're supposed to be cooking for our husbands. I believe we're supposed to get up in the morning time to make sure that he has breakfast. He shouldn't have to stop at McDonald's, stop at IHOP, or wherever it is that they go to have breakfast, Starbucks nowadays. He ought to be able to leave home with a hot meal in his stomach. Everybody work. Nobody wants to stay home anymore. I was a stay-at-home mom. And I love every moment of it.
I was a stay-at-home mom when my kids were little, but everybody asked me, Shirley, why aren't you married? And I adopted a girl. She was a baby when I adopted her, and she's 15 now. And I'm not bringing a man over my child. She didn't ask for me to adopt. She didn't ask for me to adopt her. She didn't ask for me to take care of her. And I made a promise to God that when I got her from her mom, that I was going to love her and take care and provide for her. So I got 2.5 years. I'm kicking the butt out of my house, Shirley.
But you know what?
No, I won't.
When my children were going, and what I'm saying to you, there are people who know me when I lived in Seattle. There are people who know me, know that this is what I did. This is just not me giving you some conversation for the sake of ratings or anything like. This is what I did. I took care of my kids. Men were not coming in and out of my house. Men were not even calling me for that matter. As a matter of fact, my younger son, who was a high-profile athlete, his coaches used to tell the men, don't talk to her. She's the evangelist. You can't talk to her. I mean, people kind of protected me from, and I look at it from the perspective is that when I love with my whole heart. If I believe in you, I believe in you. I'm not walking around thinking you lying to me. Now, when you turn and your what you call truth is not truth, we get to talk about it. By the time that second thing roll around, I'm gone.
So, Charlene, let me ask you this:
to talk about.
Well, I think we're about the same age, but at 65, I'm gonna have to say for me. At 65, do you think I could fall in love?
Of course you can.
Yes. Love is relative. First of all, what is it that you're loving?
Outside of me?
People are loving sex. I keep talking.
And some people are in love with being in love.
Yes.
Some people are in love with being married.
Can you give up your right to be right for the sake of peace? Do you know what it's like to sit down and have a conversation without an argument?
Right.
Do you know how to listen? If he said, baby, look, this is where we're at. This is what's going on. I don't need you to spend money right now. I need you to stay within the budget because we have a goal in mind and you go spend money. Like, who has time for that?
Linda don't. So let's say, no, I'm just kidding. And I said that because I know other peers. We don't want to. The mass majority does not want to hear this type of information. But I tell you, I deal with a whole lot of people. Girl, me too.
But that's what happens.
We reproduce after our own kind. Yeah. Meaning, people like me, the things, my views and my values, people like that want that, they are attracted to me. And then there are people that say, girl, how are you doing this? Why do you look young? I have a day skincare. I have a night skincare. I have day fragrance, afternoon fragrance. I have evening fragrance. I take it.
Take care of yourself.
Charlene, listen, we're going to have to bring you back for another part two.
Part two.
Yeah, because
part two.
There are some things that I wanted to touch and I wanted people to know about you. But if we cannot bring you in part two, but we will. Have you again, and I look forward to chatting with you. And if you ever need to have a platform, you're welcome here. So tell the people how they can get in contact with you.
You can, because what I do is private. I host a lot of events publicly where I celebrate people, but most of what I do is private. You can reach me at my email address, cbwc@live.com. I don't have a phone number on my card because if that card falls into the wrong hands, it could be a woman's life. And everyone is not being physically abused. Some people are being emotionally abused.
And mental.
And that can be just as bad. So
and that is bad.
You can email me at cbwc@live.com. You can go to my website, www.coffeebreakwithcharley.org. You can go to my website. In the subject line, identify what it is because I don't open up strange emails without subject lines because we have so much hacking going on nowadays. And I want people who really want to make a difference. I do workshops. I do them privately, publicly. I do Christian environment, secular environment. If you want change, my workshops are completely different. In my workshops, I'm extremely transparent about the struggles that I've had, how I view life before and after the near-death experience. So when reaching out, you get a variety of things.
Okay. Hey, that's Coffee Break with Charley, everybody. Go ahead.
Right, real quick, Charlene. Charlene, I came to one of your coffee breaks with Charley. I wasn't invited. I just kind of came. I was Linda's +1, but I want to tell you that time I spent with you changed the way I looked at myself. You made a profound difference in my life.
And that's who you are, Charlene.
And that's who you are. And I want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I've known her. We can't figure out how many years, but I've known her for 100 years. We're going to say that. I have known you for 100 years. And you have always been the same person every time we talk, we text, or we see each other. And I appreciate that from you. And if we could give that more to others, we can have a better place.
Yes, we can.
In my closing, I would like to say that for 2023, the goal for me is to do more speaking engagements, whether, like I said, whether they're public or private, so that we can really talk about that. Everyone, sometimes you have people who are doing textbook, and textbook does not have the same impact as life experience. And when you take life experience and textbooks, you have a completely different feel. People's lives change immediately after being in my environment, especially if it's a private environment. I've had times where people come in and they're just coming in to just to be a spectator.
Yes.
And before you know it, because what comes from the heart goes to the heart.
Yeah.
I don't have any shame attached to my experience. I look at it from the perspective God trusted me to be able to go through all the tragedy, all the trauma, all the misunderstandings, because somewhere he had me in the palm of his hand. He said, she's going to change. She's going to read a book. She's going to read some books. She's going to take some workshops, and then she's going to help others change the way she changed.
Yeah.
If I had one superpower, I would say that I don't hold grudges.
Great.
Marcia says thank you for the changes you've made in her life also, and she loves you.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to go over, but we getting that message. You all gotta go. So, but unfortunately, our time has
Charlene,
come.
we have to have you again.
We have to have you again. Please accept our invitation and come back. Listen, we're gonna have a tea party in Charlotte. Oh, wait, I was supposed to tell everybody, but listen, y'all, Charlene will be in Houston, and we'll let you know when she's coming, so you can prepare yourself sometime in March to reach out to her. If you need her while she's here in Houston, don't waste the opportunity to not get to speak with her. When you she's do powerful. That, she really is.
Alice said she really enjoyed you tonight.
Thank you.
So everybody, we thank you for being here, and thank you, Miss Alice. Thank you all our viewers for those who commented and those who wanted to and didn't. It's okay. We'll be back next Thursday, and we will look forward to seeing all of you.
And you can catch this show on YouTube,
Spotify,
and Stunner Radio.
This is it. Yeah. So we'll see you when? Next Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 o'clock on the East. So we love you and thank you for all that you give us. Charlene.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Charlene, thank you.
Thank you.